Good evening, Ridgeview families. It is 7:30. My name is Mrs. Richardson. I am the principal here at Ridgeview Junior High. We are going to get started with our scheduling meeting for our 7th graders going into 8th grade. I will go ahead and let everyone introduce themselves. Mute myself here.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Owen. I am the 7th grade counselor, so I will be following your students to 8th grade this year.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Smoot. I'm the current 8th grade school counselor this year.
And I'm Mr. Steele. I'm one of the assistant principals here at Ridgeview. We have another assistant principal who is Mr. Smith, and he is over on the Lakeview meeting because he splits time between Ridgeview and Lakeview.
So again, welcome to our video about scheduling. You have been there, done that with the scheduling from last year. So this year, we are just going to kind of go through some of the differences that we have for the scheduling process. And hopefully we will answer all of the questions that you have. First of all, this year is a little different. It's been a lot different. I'm sure you've all experienced so many things this year that you've never experienced before. So with that, we have not been able to get out in person to see a lot of the students and talk to a lot of students and the families. So we developed this hub. It's our scheduling hub. And it has pretty much everything that you could possibly need as you go through the scheduling process. So tonight I'm going to walk you through this hub just to point some things out to you so you are more familiar with it and feel a little more comfortable with using it. I'm really hoping that a lot of the 7th graders have already had the opportunity to get into this and to look at their classes. I did meet with them last week. We went through virtually. We went through all of the scheduling hub and I walked them into Infinite Campus to show them how to register for classes and even ask them to go ahead and put some classes in that can be changed. Parents, you always have the opportunity to review those and talk with your student about those so those can be changed. But hopefully they are pretty well on their way to being scheduled, but we really want to make sure that you understand the process as well. So let's just start. At the top of the hub, there are four lines. And basically those are the main 4 things that you need to remember as you're using the scheduling hub. The first one is we'd like you to watch the welcome video so you can kind of understand a little bit more about the scheduling process this year. We also would like for you to watch the how to schedule video. However, if you are more of a paper person, you need to follow step by step on paper. You can go down to the purple column and it's the 3rd point down. It says how to schedule courses, and that, if you click on that, is actually a document that will show you a step-by-step process of how to schedule in the scheduling in Infinite Campus. So so there are 2 options there. You can watch the video or you can use the paper version. The third line is the scheduling timeline, and really we are already well into that. So if you're here with us tonight, you have gotten all the information that you need from this timeline, with the exception that all classes must be scheduled by March 12th. So you need to have everything in by March 12th. This is the longest that has ever been given for scheduling, just because we understand with the two cohorts and with everything that's been going on, we needed to give a little extra time with all of the changes. So we're asking that you finalize all of your schedules by the 12th, because the window will close at that point and we will begin trying to process all of your requests for getting them into the schedule for next year. So hopefully you will be able to do that by that time. And then finally, we just would like for you to explore. This hub has so many resources on it. It's just incredible, the things that you can find here. If you scroll down through, there's information about, actually the very top thing is the junior high courses study. So that's every single course, every single description, anything you want to know, all in paper form. But then there are pieces and parts of that in videos. So as you go on down there, over to the right, you'll see all the different electives, and every single one of those has a video that's attached to it that you can watch just if you want to know a little bit more about the classes that you're interested in, or the ones that sound interesting, but you don't know if you're interested in. We do have a new course this year. All of the rest of the courses are the same, but the new course this year is social justice. So I encourage you to take a few minutes and maybe watch that video or read the description for that course. I think that could be very informative for you. And then we also have information over again on the purple column. We have information about special education, gifted services, EL services. We have down a little further, we have math information about the math courses and the progression. So for example, if you are in Advanced Math 7 this year, you would automatically be moved into algebra. So as you are looking at your student schedules, we have pre-populated the core courses for you based on what the progression is for your students. So if you are in Math 7, you would be automatically put into Math 8. Advanced Math 7 goes to algebra, and algebra goes to geometry. We've done that for math, science, English, and then social studies is the same for everyone. So just be aware that we did pre-populate those based on the progression, because that is where your student would be placed. As far as we have had the question, if I'm in regular math, can I jump to algebra? And at this time, we are not able to honor that request simply because the Advanced Math 7 course, the Advanced Science 7 course, contains content for 8th grade, and skipping those courses would not provide the kind of foundation that your student needs to go to the next level. So that is why they are automatically scheduled in. If you have any further questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me or any of the principals, or Leanne Ross or Todd Stanley. They are the gifted over the gifted services in the district, and they can answer any questions. And actually, Leanne Ross is the one who helps make the determinations as far as placement, and she does the testing of students. So you can find all the details you need under those tabs for math courses, science courses, English courses, and again, all the electives are off to the right. And then we also have the special videos that are specific to Ridgeview. There are social media links. There's a virtual tour. You can meet the office staff, and some of these videos are from the welcome videos at the beginning of the year, but they will introduce you to our office staff and just give you different resources that you might need for Ridgeview. We also have down at the bottom, there's information about the athletics at Ridgeview. So that will take you to the athletics website. And then we also have the Google form for any questions that you might have after this presentation. You can click on that Google form, and we will send you an email and or post it in the frequently asked questions box, or the frequently asked questions document, so you can get your questions answered. So you can check back if you have questions. You can check back to those frequently asked questions. Maybe there are already answers in there for you. So we'll try to answer everything we can tonight. But if we don't get to all of your questions, or if you have more later, feel free to fill out that Google form and then check back to the frequently asked questions. So a couple other things that I would like to cover, that sort of gives you an idea of the hub. And the hub is where everything is as far as your information for classes. Your Infinite Campus is where you will be logging in to register for classes. And the students, again, we went through this last week, but they just log in as they normally would to Infinite Campus. And parents, if you have an account, you too can log in. And you would then follow the step-by-step instructions. It's very easy to follow. And you can go in and you can request your courses, and you can you can change those at any time between now and March 12th. So you can go in, you can select your courses. If you talk about it or something else comes up and you decide you need to change it, as long as you do it before March 12th, you're pretty good. Once we start doing the scheduling of the courses and working on the master schedule, it's a little harder to make those changes. So make sure that when you choose the courses, you have a huge block of time in order to do that. You have approximately 3 weeks, I think, to make all of the selections, look at the videos, and just really choose the classes that you think would best fit your needs or your likes. So, so anyway, take the time, get into Infinite Campus, and know that that is changeable. There is no submit button. So when you're done scheduling for your classes, you just exit and all of the classes are there, and we will then load those into our scheduling system. One thing I do want to also encourage you to do, just like last year, it's important that you register for 4 to 6 alternates along with your electives. So you have your electives, and then you need 4 to 6 alternates, so that we are sure to be able to get you in the classes that you want. If for some reason you obviously you are 8th graders, so you get priority. So we will try to get you in your classes as best we can. But if for some reason we can't, then we will look to the alternates to help us fill your schedule. Let's see. Some other information that I'd also like you to remember is, as you are looking at some of these courses, there are prerequisites. And for example, in medical detectives is the prerequisite for medical detectives 2. So if you have not taken that medical detectives 1, you can't take medical detectives 2. So as you're scheduling your classes, just make sure that you have scheduled in the right succession as far as the classes go. There are sometimes other prerequisites. Sometimes you have to have a certain grade or a certain test score in order to be in a class. So keep that in mind. Foreign language is one that comes to mind, that there are certain requirements for that class. So make sure as you're choosing your electives that you really look at those and make sure that you qualify. There's still opportunities to qualify if you don't currently. So if you do sign up for a class and for whatever reason you don't qualify for that class, we do go through and we check the lists before we finalize them. So if you find that one of your selections is not on your schedule, it's likely that you didn't qualify for that class. However, if you think you do, please let us know, and we'll revisit that and make sure that that's correct. Let's see. I also would like to make sure that you are aware that as we're going up into 8th grade, and some of you might be taking some of the more accelerated classes. Some of you might be taking high school credited classes. Keep in mind that these are high school credited classes. They move at a faster pace. The expectations, are more. So please make sure that you are not overloading yourself too much. Make sure that you are trying to consider, everything. If you're in, let's say you're in algebra and you're in, gifted English and you're in an integrated science, and then you want to take a foreign language, that's a lot. That's 3 high school credited classes. And And so you really need to make sure that you're trying to balance yourself and not put too much pressure on yourself, because you have plenty of time when you get to high school to take some of these classes, including a foreign language. You have plenty of time. Matter of fact, sometimes it's even better to wait until you get to high school, because if you don't plan to go all the way through your senior year with a foreign language, and you do plan to go to college, sometimes it's a little harder because you've had a little lapse for like maybe a year's lapse in language, and so it's a little harder to test for that. So just kind of keep those things in mind. Let's see. One other thing that I also like to encourage you is we have a lot of electives, a lot. So I encourage you to explore some things. Even if you aren't sure if you would like it, try it, because you might find that you do. We have a lot of different ones, but some students do ask the question, can I take PE more than once, or can I take certain classes more than once? The only ones that you are allowed to repeat are PE 7-8 and Visual Arts 1, the first Visual Arts, and then PE 7-8. Those are the only two that you can repeat. The rest of the classes you can only take one time. So another thing to consider is if you have already taken a class, you can't sign up for that class again. So please be aware of that. That we may, if for some reason you didn't do well in that class, we can have a conversation about that. But for the most part, you cannot retake a class. So I believe that's everything, except that I do want to remind you that you won't actually see your full schedule in the order that you will be taking the classes until just before school starts, a week or two before school starts. So keep that in mind. Be patient with us. We'll be working on those over the summer. So I think I've talked a lot, and I think there's some people on here. So I'd like to know, do you have any questions? Or those of you who are with me, do you have anything to add?
I would just remind parents, families to remind their students, if they took an elective this year, like medical detectives or automation robotics, they don't need to re-sign up to take medical detectives 1 or automation robotics. So be mindful if your student has already taken the class and it's not been a PE or an art class, the likelihood they may not need to take it again next year to go on to the next level of the class. So sometimes students forget to hit the 2 after the MD for medical detectives 2, and so then it tries to register them again for medical detectives. So just make sure that you have your students look over their choices pretty carefully before March 12th.
We want to give you some time to ask questions on here, but I know also your students are with us at Ridgeview now. So if you don't get your questions answered in the next few minutes while we're on here tonight, you can have them stop down and see one of the school counselors, one of us, if you're not able to get a hold of one of our school counselors. And also feel free as parents to reach out to us too if you have questions about the process.
And if you use the comment box here on YouTube, your comment will pop up for us to see, so we can answer anything that you may have pressing right now. I'll give you a few minutes to start putting some questions in.
I can add that if you are with VLA, we are going to be holding some office hours. We've posted that for those students. So we will be holding some office hours for them as well, so that they can ask any questions. And I'm going to be giving students the opportunity during their E&Is in the next couple of weeks to check in with me if they have any additional questions.
I will say VLA was a common question earlier too in the last group. At this point, the district doesn't have any formal decisions on what VLA will look like for next year. So I would just, at this point, register your student for classes as if they were going to be in the building, and then there will be something coming out in the next couple months regarding what VLA looks like. I know it was a topic on the board meeting tonight. So.
Also, I know some other questions that have come up are clubs, and obviously none of you have had the opportunity to be in clubs, and that's, we kind of hate that because we haven't been able to have those this year. So some of the clubs that we have offered in the past, and again, this is based on whether or not we have someone to be the advisor for those. Things like Interact, which is a club that is run through Rotary. Green Team, they do recycling and that kind of thing. Art Club. We also had an anime club. We had Math Counts, Science Olympiad. We have Safe Space. We also have Student Council, and we have Web. Web is for 8th graders only, so you would be able to put your name in for being a web leader for next year. And this year it was a little difficult for the web leaders because we were very limited as to what we could do, but they did have the opportunity to go in and lead some lessons, and they did some activities for the school. And we hope to still continue to do some more things. So we're trying to make it work. We also had, at one point, we had Girls on the Run, which was a running group that we had. We've had Robotics Club before. So, there's all kinds of different opportunities. So if a student has not, doesn't seem to find a club that works for them, just talk to someone. And we're always willing to listen and see if there's someone who might be interested in advising that club. I don't know if I mentioned this either, but did I say that ClassLink is in, or I'm sorry, that the hub is in ClassLink? Okay, so the scheduling hub is in ClassLink as well, so every student can access it through there. That's how I am encouraging them to get to it. I don't believe that the teachers actually posted in any of the classrooms because it is offered on ClassLink. So just be aware of that if you're trying to access it.
How do you sign up for clubs? Basically, your student would just need to listen to announcements. In regards to most of these clubs, the advisors will put announcements on to talk about if and when they are meeting. Obviously, as Mrs. Owen said, this year a lot of our clubs weren't able to meet. We have some that may have done some virtual meetings, like our student council meets virtually. But just pay attention to announcements as those start to pop up. I know Web Leader, that'll be towards the end of this school year, looking for students who may be interested in needing to fill out the application form for that. So.
We hope we can get back to some of those activities next year. Obviously, the pandemic has changed a lot of things for our children and for us. So I know it's been hard on a lot of folks, and just having that after school activities has been very limited this year. But we're thankful to get in what we have got in with sports this year. A lot of our students have been able to play, and it's been great to see our Tigers compete on the field. So it's just ways to get your students involved. I know there's, you'll come up with questions that you don't remember tonight. Feel free to ask any one of us on this call, or have your students ask any one of us. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add as we're.
There's the also question form at the end of the scheduling document. Again, just have your students open up their Chromebook and go in through ClassLink, and they can show you that entire document. If you would like to see what your students may have already put in as possible electives, have them log into their Infinite Campus and walk you through those steps of how they got to where they could input their electives. You're looking to make sure that they have 24 of 24 units met. We have already pre-populated their Paul time in their core classes. So really they're in charge of scheduling 6 units, which is either 6 trimester classes or 2 year-long classes or a combination of both. And as Ms. Owen said at the beginning, please make sure that you have some alternates in there, especially because when some of our classes, we don't offer them every single class, every single period. We're just not able to. And so we want to make sure that people have the best opportunity to get something that they're interested in case they get closed out of a class. We'll hang on here for a few more minutes, about another 2 minutes, to see if there's any more questions that pop up. If we have answered, or if you don't feel like you have any more questions, feel free to log out. This is recorded, so the link that you used to get here for the live stream will also be the same link to rewatch, as it will be recorded. It won't be ready right away on YouTube. It takes a little bit of time for the recorded session to kind of cycle back over in, but it will be there. So this link will be out again on our newsletters and on our social media pages. So
thank you all for coming.
all right, everyone, have a great evening. Thanks for meeting with us. Again, we'll hopefully see you soon. And you can find this record on YouTube in a little bit. And have a great night. Thanks, guys.